Good morning, y'all. It's Martin Luther King Day. And I was alive when Martin Luther King was the civil rights activist that we all celebrate now. So I want to tell you a couple of things about him that are real versus how his message has been co-opted. Co-opted means that the establishment took it over and basically rebadged it so it would serve their needs. So we all remember Martin Luther King and his mentor, Mohandas Gandhi, also known as Mahatma Gandhi, which Mahatma means great soul. So we could even say Mahatma King if we wanted to, because Martin Luther King was a great soul who understood the importance of spirit. Anyway, so here's the deal. All we ever hear about Martin Luther King is he was a champion for nonviolence. He was a champion for nonviolence. Well, that's true, he was. And Gandhi the same thing. But here's the difference. Before nonviolence was non-cooperation with injustice. That's the piece that the establishment has removed and eviscerated from his message. Neither of them were simply nonviolence or passive resistance. That's all bullshit. They were both very staunch non-cooperation with injustice. In other words, if a law is unjust, if a situation or an institution is unjust, nonviolence, but non-cooperation first. Okay? Now, how would you do non-cooperation? Well, usually it takes the form of either protesting or mostly refusing to cooperate. And that could be done in all kinds of ways. I try not to cooperate with any institution or system which basically attacks the rights of queer people, black people, people of color, other colors, etc., etc. If they're not serving everyone equally and promoting just behavior within the business community or the governmental institutions, etc., I figure out ways to make their life difficult. Non-violently, of course, but still, it's a very strong tactic, and most people don't understand how to do it or why it works. So today, as we celebrate Martin Luther King, who was from Atlanta, Georgia, who started his mission and work in Montgomery, Alabama, okay? He was not just an American hero, he was a Southern hero as well, okay? Non-cooperation and non-violence when they come to arrest you. Just make their lives so miserable that they have to notice you and listen to you. So that was Martin Luther King's message. And the rest of it is all wonderful. The parties, the parades, the celebration, because he was an amazing human being. But so are the rest of us. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. And by the way, if you are a white gay person, white queer person, you need to really study Mohandas Gandhi. They made a film about him that kind of tells the message. Martin Luther King, but also just the history of African Americans in this country, because no other group has had to endure the consistent, methodical, horrific stuff happening to them like African Americans in the United States. Lots of literature. I love all of them. Maya Angelou, Zora Neale Hurston, James Baldwin, Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison's work specifically dealt with the nature of oppression. These are folks we can learn from. I certainly have, and I encourage the rest of you queer white folks, because white people really don't have any experience with oppression in this country. But just learn from the masters, learn from the people who have. African Americans, Jews, Asians, Native Americans, The list is fairly long. But like I said, African Americans are the only group that weren't even acknowledged as human beings until a little over 100 years ago, and then weren't even treated equally in the law until 60 years ago, my lifetime. I remember the crazy hysteria leading up to the Civil Rights Bill and other civil rights legislation. So Tupac said it best, some things never change. People who live in fear are going to do awful things to the people who they see as the objects of that fear. And as queer people, we have to deal with that all the time. But guess what? Back in the day, it was black people. Have a wonderful Martin Luther King Day and celebrate this great American and Southern hero.